Hello everybody and welcome to the Meta Report. Today we're going to be reviewing the Korean final game of Reform Gaming versus EL Gaming, or how I like to call them, RG versus Elong. This game being so freakishly long, I have decided to split it into two videos, so make sure you check out the next Meta Report for the ending. Set number 1 on steps. Reform Gaming take a standard setup except for the T95, which I have never seen used on this map before and could possibly be amazing or super terrible. And EL Gaming taking a T110 in addition to a rather standard setup. Reform Gaming sets up their defense by doing the super cool, awesome and trendy hill push to push their tank up on top of the hill, this tank then being able to snipe Cap 2 and reset any possible capture of that base. And the T95 is placed to defend Cap number 1, possessing both binocs and coated optics, which is also super awesome. Elong Gaming, on the other hand, chooses a rather standard approach, filling out the map and spreading out their forces, going towards Cap number 1 and trying to ascertain the position of Reform Gaming's defensive lines. My god, that was a mouthful. Now back to the action. Reflection goes up on the hill but can't spot anything, and you also does not spot anything, because T95s are not very good at scouting. Nice rolls up to the A2 area and starts to try to snipe, while Reflection sits on the Cap unspotted and U-Man pokes himself up to try to deter the enemy from coming. The Cap is running down and Reflection remains unlit. RG99 rushes over the tracks and forces Reflection to run away. Reflection gets lit and RG takes some damage, but the T95 does not shoot, which makes him not be spotted, which forces EL Gaming to tiptoe around the whole area since they don't know where he is. RG stays in that position and Nice keeps poking out and losing HP, rendering him practically useless. RGGG gets taken out right after Nice by Elong's forces, who have jumped over the tracks to finish him. Reflection is then set back on Cap and the countdown starts again. RG then decides to push, sending the T110 and the 140 over the track. The 140 gets taken out, but the T110 survive and starts to engage flag. But Elong reacts quick and sends the backjab and the TVP to take him out. But it's too little too late, as the T95 remains along with the heavies and the defensive formation, and Elong Gaming are not able to cap in time or do anything, all their attempts seeming rushed and failing. Reform Gaming wins. This game we see Reform Gaming using the T95 not as a frontliner but instead hiding him for the majority of the game, forcing Elong to tiptoe around and not being able to fully engage for fear of running into this fearsome enemy. Set number 2, Reform Gaming attacking, taking a rather standard lineup this time, although bringing in artillery, which is not unseen on this map. And EL Gaming taking a rather light defensive setup for this map. EL Gaming sets up an ambush with the 1390 running around trying to bait the enemy into them. I mean, look at that firing squad. But RG doesn't fall for the bait, instead starts to feel out the area and try to ascertain the defensive formation of EL Gaming. EL Gaming's firing squad gets spotted and RG starts to move in with his FVs. EL, knowing that their formation cannot stand up to a well-organized attack, decides to pull back, and it's better if you just watch from now on. After that very lull moment, RG puts one of its FVs on Cap and starts to circle with the rest of its forces. EL Gaming then tries to break out and form an attack, but RG Gaming has a really good crossfire and takes all of them out without losing a single tank. RG Gaming wins. In this game, we see for the first time EL Gaming really not knowing what to do. Set number 3 on Murovanka. From Gaming taking a mix of tanks and an artillery, which is pretty strange on this map if you're defending. But EL Gaming, being on the attack, take a Waffentrager and an artillery, which is even more bizarre. RG decides to rush down to the south side to try to catch EL Gaming off guard since they have a Waffentrager and an artillery. But EL Gaming have gone the 1-2 line, which is kind of counterintuitive since the Waffentrager has a very hard time operating in the hilly and close range terrain of the 1-2 line and would be best used in the forest instead, which is probably why RG decided to rush the forest in the first place even though they brought an artillery. U-Man sits on the Cap and the timer starts counting down. Now EL Gaming could have won this really quickly had they known that RG Gaming was by Cap number 2 with nobody protecting Cap number 1. RG Gaming starts to creep back towards Cap number 1, but as the timer keeps keeps running down, they realize they won't have time and just go for an all-out push through the center of the map. Flag takes a couple shots at the passing tanks but is almost taken out in return. And with only 20 seconds remaining on the cap, RG Gaming regains a somewhat standard defensive position. LW spots Newman and the artillery from RG Gaming resets the cap just in time. GG pokes up but gets taken out almost instantly by the combined focus fire of EL Gaming. But Newman decides to leave the cap as M1 is coming around and will have side shots on him. And Reflection in the Waffentrager, having fired only 2 of his 5 shells, 1 at the T110 and 1 to finish off the T62A, reloads his clip prematurely and is an easy target for the STB1 from RG Gaming. EL Gaming, having pulled his Batchats out of the middle, then goes to finish off the artillery from RG Gaming. EL then starts the cap number 2, and RG Gaming reacts by splitting its forces, sending a force up north to take out the STB1 and the artillery, and a force south to reset the cap. This initially pays off as the STB1 gets taken out in the north and the cap is reset in the south, but then RG Gaming is spread a bit too thin and is not able to hold back the 2 Batchats from EL Gaming, who plow through the 140 and then set off to take out the other T110. Reform Gaming is stuck at the top left corner of the map with 3 tanks closing in on them. The low health T110 and TVP are no match for EL Gaming, who take their first win. Set number 4, Reform Gaming attacking with 2 heavies and an artillery, and EL Gaming defending with an ultralight setup, which is not uncommon for them on this map. EL Gaming sets up a standard defensive formation with the 1390 in a bush by cap number 2 and the rest of their tanks in various sniping positions on the hill and in the forest surrounding cap number 2 and 1. And RG Gaming sets up an attack formation using the magical force and controlling the 9-0 line. RG Gaming, knowing that there must be a 1390 spotting since their 140 got lit, starts to blind fire all the bushes. That is, all the likely bushes that the 1390 would be hiding in. Reform Gaming, obviously having practiced blind firing the bushes, finally get the bush where Reflection is hiding in and starts to blind fire him, knowing that he is there since their tracers disappear. Reflection runs away and miraculously survives. But the 1390 was not the only tank with a good spotting position, and Guanren, who is on the K line next to the border, is still able to spot cap, with Reflection also creeping back bush to bush to try to keep eyes on the capture point. RG Gaming, not having any good spotting tanks, are not able to make sufficient inroads into the position and get lit very quickly, with their HP diminishing every time they try. And with the timer slowly going down and RG running out of ideas, they stick their 2 T110s on the cap and try to cap it. But they are still being lit, and EL Gaming decides to push in, knowing full well that they have a massive HP advantage over RG Gaming, who melt away as EL Gaming pushes forward to win their second game. This scenario, we see EL Gaming making very good uses of all the bushes around the cap to spot the enemy. Himmelsdorf. Reform Gaming defending with 2 heavies, aka E100s, 2 DPM heavies, aka FBs 215Bs, and 2 autoloaders, a AMX-50B and a Waffentrager, taking a light tank to be able to spot. And EL Gaming going full DPM with 4 FVs, 1 Waffentrager, 1 Batchat, and 1 1390. EL Gaming sets up a pretty wide formation with the Batchat and the Waffle on the hill, 1 of the FEs in the middle to spot, and the other 3 FEs rolling down the K line with the 1390 ahead to spot. And RG Gaming sets up a kind of interesting defensive formation with the 1390 in the middle, the 2 E100s guarding cap number 2, and 3 tanks watching the A alley with the 1390 to be able to spot the hill so that the snipers can take shots. But this turns to their disadvantage as EL Gaming has taken a position on the 2 line with the 1390 be able to spot the Waffentrager and the 50B, forcing them to back off. Reflection slowly making his way up the railway line to try to get closer to cap number 1. And the Waffle and Batchat on the hill, which are keeping some of the forces from RG Gaming occupied. The 1390 jumps on cap number 1 and the Batchat jumps on cap number 2, which has the effect of slowing down the actions of RG Gaming as they are having to rethink the way that they are going to reset both caps. RG Gaming hesitating too long and letting itself be boxed in, with the Waffentrager guarding the backside, and the Batchat, now off cap number 2, has moved into a ambush position along with the 2 other FVs. By the time Reform Gaming finally organized their push, it's too late, as EL Gaming has very good firing and crossfire solutions on any approach to reset the cap, EL Gaming having outmaneuvered the forces of Reform Gaming. EL Gaming wins. Set number 6 in attack, Reform Gaming taking the heavy guns with 2 big TDs, a Jag Panzer and an E3. And EL Gaming taking somewhat of a lighter lineup for a defensive position with 5 medium heavies and 2 autoloaders. RG Gaming sends the majority of his forces to take the hill. And EL Gaming sets up defensive positions, sending the Batchat and the 113 down the 3 line and the rest of his tanks at the base of the hill to wait the incoming RG Gaming. Reflection spots the 113 poking over the hill. Reform Gaming waits a minute on the hill and then commence their push off the hill down towards Elong's forces. Reflection is waiting at the corner, but the E3 turns to face him and Reflection is not able to penetrate his shot. And seeing Nice and U-Man out of the fight, they decide to push in to take out Reflection and engage L Fox. They manage to take out Reflection, but L Fox gets away and they lose a lot of HP doing so. They then split their attack into 2 forces, one going for the T-110s and the other one going for the 110 and the Waffenträger. The Batchat manages to get back in time to take some shots, but the 113 is still out of the fight and RG is walking all over Elong, using their superior HP as well as the DPM of their TD to whittle down Elong's forces. Endgame only being 2 TDs left for Reform Gaming and a Batchat and a 113 for Elong. And with Reform Gaming sitting on cap with its 2 TDs almost at full HP and being able to one-shot any of the Elong's forces, there isn't much that Elong can do. Reform Gaming wins the game. In this scenario, see Reform Gaming taking 2 big TDs, which are really good. And we see a technical mistake from Elong, leading Wang Ren up the hill and being out of the fight for too long to be any good.